Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hope you're doing well. This is Muhammad Imran. In my previous lecture, I discussed in detail conversational principles, cooperation in discourse. I talked in detail about four maxims: maximum of quality, maximum of quantity, maximum of relevance, and maximum of manner. So these four maxims are used in conversation in order to make it effective. Or in other words, to have a positive feedback from your receivers. Sometimes we violate these four maxims. Or in other words, sometimes we float from these cooperative principles. So this is the topic of today's lecture. We will talk in detail about floating the cooperative principle. Let's begin our today's lecture. When and why can we float these cooperative principle? By float, we mean not obeying or not follow. So sometimes we do not obey or we do not follow these cooperative principles. What are the main reasons? Let's discuss. There are times when meaning derived from deliberate violation or floating, as Greece called them, of the cooperative principle. Sometimes we deliberately violate or deliberately float these cooperative principle, but still meanings are arrived. How? Always provided that the sender intends the receiver to perceive them as such. When a sender has in mind that the way he or she is sending a message and the receiver will receive the message in the same manner. And that is how in fact the receiver does perceive them as such, and this is how in fact the receiver does perceive them. So when a sender has in mind that his or her message will be perceived by the receiver in the same manner, and the receiver also perceive the message in the same manner, then if one of the maxim or one of the cooperative principle, even if it is violated or floated, still it gives meaning. Still your communication is not effective. Still you are on your own path. Floating cooperative principle with example. It is possible to float the quality maxim without lying. For example, I've got million of beer bottle in my cellar. Cellar is an underground room or a store room. So if I tell you that I've got million of beer bottle, do I really have million of beer bottle? Not at all. I don't have million of beer bottle. Just I want to exaggerate, right? It is hyperbole. And when I deliberately violate maximum of quality, so I have in mind that my receiver will perceive them in the same manner as I'm saying. And my receiver will think or he will believe I don't have million of beer bottle, but I have a beer of bottle in large quantity. In large quantity. And my receiver, he believes or she believes that we don't have such kind of storeroom where we can store million of beer bottle. So even though I am violating the quality, maximum of quality, but still I would not be perceived as liar because I am not lying. Fine. This is just one to make the concept more clear. So sometimes we use figure of speech or we use metaphor, simile, personification or any figurative language. Second example. My car breaks down in every 5 minutes. Do I really mean that my car breaks down in every 5 minutes? Not at all. But this is a routine that whenever I go somewhere, so 2 times or 3 times on the way my car breaks down. So just I want to exaggerate and I want to clear your mind. I want to clear the concept that there's problem with my car. And deliberately I'm saying it, but I'm not lying. Right? I just want to forcefully conveying my message to someone that my car breaks down in every 5 minutes. So deliberately I'm saying, and I know that my receiver will perceive my message in the same manner as I'm saying to him or her. So again, I am violating maxim of quality, but I am not lying. It's not lie. It's true. But I can violate maxim of quality only if I know that my receiver will understand, okay, in the same manner I'm saying. Number one, that my receiver should know that deliberately I'm saying this. And my receiver should understand, okay, the meaning of this, that why do I say this. In this way, I'm violating, but still this violation is not considered as lying. Third example, if I say Queen Victoria is made of iron, is she really made of iron? Not at all, because a human being cannot be made of iron. A human being is made of flesh. So this is like metaphorically I'm saying that she is made of iron. It means that she is very strong. She's brave. She's energetic. So if I tell someone that you are made of iron, it means you have a lot of energy. You are very strong. Right? So because when I say that she is made of iron, so I believe that my receiver will perceive it in the same way what I mean. So in this case, I'm violating maxim of quality, but I'm not lying. Because metaphorically, I say this. Comment, though it is not literally true, you will perceive such remarks as figure of speech. These are hyperbole, metaphor, irony, sarcasm, and they will all depend upon the assumption that they will be interpreted as deliberate floating of the charge to be true, rather than untrue intended to deceive. So that is not okay when I say something, so I say deliberately and it is true, not to deceive someone. So there will be deliberate violation or deliberate floating of the principle. Right? Here we have the explanation of the example I presented on previous slide. Though neither is literally true, the example I presented, they are not literally true. You will perceive such remarks as figure of speech, hyperbole, a way of making my point more forcefully rather than as lie. Right? The same hold for metaphor. Queen Victoria was made of iron. In irony and sarcasm, I love it when you sing out of key all the time. That is sarcasm, which depend upon the assumption that they will be interpreted as deliberate floating of the charge to be true rather than as untrue intended to deceive. Note the importance in all that has been said so far of the sender's correct estimations of the receiver's state of knowledge. So these figure of speech, hyperbole, metaphor, irony, sarcasm work only if the sender has enough knowledge to know the average house seller will not hold million of bottle. Excuse me. Women are not made of iron because we know that Queen Victoria cannot be made of iron, and so on. When we speak to a child or to someone from another culture, we can easily estimate this knowledge incorrectly. Children and foreign language learners sometimes take figure of speech literally. Was Queen Victoria really made of iron, mummy? A child may ask from his mother. You English people must have very big houses because you can store million of beer of bottle. So through our misjudgment of their knowledge, metaphor becomes a lie, and we are left with disturbing conclusion that the truth of the message is something constructed by sender and receiver, and not only as is usually held to be as case. So quality of sender's intentions or the message itself. So it means that if you belong to a foreign culture or you are a child and you don't have the knowledge of figure of speech, you don't have the knowledge of metaphor and simile and hyperbole, these all things, then you will perceive them as lie. And in this way, your communication will break down. Violation of maxim of quantity. Another maxim. Just as the quality maxim can be floated for effect, for forceful effect in order to make your reader or your receiver understand. So can the other three. We have three more like quantity, relevance, and manner. So the quantity maxim is violated in both direction, creating prolixity. If we say too much, if you are saying too much, we are also violating because it will be violation of quantity. And terseness, if we are too brief. So terseness mean if we are too brief, and prolixity mean if we say too much. So in both cases we will violate. So we often say more than we need because in our daily conversation, okay, when we are in front of someone, we say more than what is required, perhaps to make a sense of accession or respect. You are standing in front of your teacher, a teacher asks you a question, he will ask you a simple question like what's your name? You will say my name is this and my father's name is this and I belong to this, okay? So this is what to give respect to your teacher. Sometime you are in front of your boss will ask you one question and you need to be very much brief, but you are not brief because you want to give a lot of respect to your boss. So that's why you go in elaboration. And we often say less than we need, and sometimes we are required to say more, but we say less. If I am boss and you are my employee, so you will ask me something and I will just say in one word or two words, right? I will say yes or no, right? You will give me like a complete or comprehensive briefing about something and I will say it's good, right? Because I'm your boss. So there'll be more than to say, but I will say less than that. Perhaps to be rude. Sometimes we are rude as a boss, right? And as a superior person, we are rude. That's why we say less than what is required. And sometimes we say more than what is required because we give respect to someone. Or blunt or forright. Sometimes we deliberately float the charge to be irrelevant, right? Sometimes we also try to be irrelevant. Even we do not need to be irrelevant, but we want to be irrelevant, right? There might be a confusion in something, there might be a clash between two people, and I want to go irrelevant in order to make this, to finish or to overcome on this clash. Sometimes I and you argue on something. When I know that our arguments, it is on its peak, and we may hurt each other, so I can go irrelevant. I can violate now the principle here, right? After the violation of maxim of quality, quantity, and relevance, we have the last one. Lastly, the maxim of manner is violated either for humor, as in the case of puns and double entendres, where rival's meanings are deliberately tolerated or in order to establish solidarity between speakers and exclude an overhearer from the conversation. So sometimes the maxim of manner is violated for the purpose of puns and double entendres. For example, if I say the chicken is ready to eat, it has dual meaning. One is that the grain is in the front of the chicken and the chicken is ready to eat that grain. And second, that the chicken is cooked and it's ready to be eaten. So in one case, the chicken is alive and there are grains in the front of the chicken. And in the second case, the chicken is cooked and it's ready to be eaten by us. Or another example, for example, there were old women and men, right? So in one case, we can say that the women and men both were old. And in other case, the women were old, but the men were not. There were old women and men in the park. So we can take two or double meaning from it. So sometimes for the purpose of humor, right? So maxim of manner is violated. Okay, so we are here. So lawyers and judge talk to each other in the way that the prisoners in the dock cannot always understand. Doctor diagnose patient for medical students in a language which they know the patient will not follow. And though there are also valid scientific reason for this. So the parents spell out words that they do not want children to understand. For example, they are going to the market and children at home, so they can, the husband can tell wife, let's go for shopping. The child may not understand, okay, they're talking about shopping. So sometimes the lawyers in the front of the clients, they will use in such a language that the client will not understand. And sometimes the doctor in front of the patient will use such kind of language related to his or her medical treatment that the patient will not get it. So there are reasons that we violate, but still it is not considered to be like violation, or it's not considered that we are violate one of the maxim. Here we have some practice, and I hope you will be in a better position to understand how cooperative principles are being floated. Let's discuss. Which maxim of the cooperative principle are being floated in the following and why? We will answer in two different ways. Which principle and why? So number one, I think I'll go for WALK, spelling the word letter by letter in front of a dog. So which cooperative principles is being floated here? That is maxim of manner. Because you see WALK in front of a dog. So that is the maxim of manner. Why? Because the person or the husband and wife may not want that the dog go along with them. So that is the reason. So this maxim is being floated because she wants to be very much polite in front of other people. She may be in the party, she may be somewhere in the meeting, right? It's very important, and she wants to leave for a while politely. Third, I can jump higher than the Empire State Building. Can you? So this is which maxim is being floated here? That is maxim of quality. Why? Just to create a forceful effect that a person can jump higher. And yes, because buildings can't jump at all, that is children joke. Right? So we learn in these three, right? And the fourth one, this meal is delicious, said by a guest who finds the food disgusting. So again, which maxim is being floated? Maxim of quality. He's not lying. But he wants to tell the guest indirectly that the food is not delicious, right? The food is distinct, right? And he wants that the host may not mind. That's why he says that the meal is delicious. So which maxim is being floated? Maxim of quality. Why? Because the guest does not want to make the host unhappy, sad. Okay? The fifth one. Then she did a PGCETESOL, as they call TEFL nowadays. Sorry, I don't know what you are talking about. So which maxim is being floated? That is maxim of manner, right? So because PGCE stand for Postgraduate Certificate in Education, something like this. And TESOL stand for Teaching English Speaking of Other Languages. And TEFL, Teaching English as a Foreign Language nowadays. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. So a person is violating, okay, or floating maxim of manner. Why? Because there may be someone standing in front of them, and he or she doesn't want that the other person would know that what kind of certificates or courses she has taken or she's taking right now. And the last one is, child, I am going to watch match of the day now. Parent, what was the maths homework you said you had? So the child is saying, I'm going to watch match of the day now. So which maxim? That is maxim of relevance. That is being floated. And parents say, what was the maths homework you said you had? So this was the practice, and I hope you understood in a better way that how these principles are being floated and what are those cooperative principles and why I explain one by one. Comments. These meanings are created by these floatings are often social signalings, the attitude of the senders to the receiver of the message, and the kind of relationship which exists or is developing between them. Greece viewed these attitudinal meaning as being created by departures from the cooperative principles. Thank you so much. It was all about floating the cooperative principle. If you have any question, please let me ask. Don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Thank you so much.